Hey students, it's Miss Minkus. I wanted to show you how to do some annotating on Common Lit and also model for you how you should be doing the guided reading questions and the assessment questions at the end of the assignment. So I'm going to do this with the poem from Friday, Identity by Julio Noboa. So I'm going to read it for you and model for you what kind of annotating you should be doing. Identity by Julio Noboa. In English. Let them be as flowers, always watered, fed, guarded, admired, but harnessed to a pot of dirt. I'd rather be a tall, ugly weed, clinging on cliffs like an eagle, wind wavering above high, jagged rocks. To have broken through the surface of stone, to live, to feel exposed to the madness of the vast eternal sky, to be swayed by the breezes of an ancient sea, carrying by my soul, my seed, beyond the mountains of time or into the abyss of the bizarre. So there's a little one next to this. I can click abyss, a seemingly deep or bottomless opening. So that gives me the definition of that word. I'd rather be unseen, and if then shunned by everyone, than to be a pleasant smelling flower growing in clusters in the fertile valley, where they're praised, handled, and plucked by greedy human hands. I'd rather smell of musty green stench than of sweet fragrant lilac. If I could stand alone, strong and free, I'd rather be a tall, ugly weed. Okay. So if I wanted to annotate, let's look at the assessment questions first. This asks about the theme. So I'm going to go and highlight anything that to me seems like a main idea. And in poetry, sometimes that's things that are repeated. So I'm going to highlight the line, I would rather be a tall, ugly weed, because that appears twice. Let's see, anything else that sticks out to me? A good idea when you're reading poetry is to highlight any literary devices. Let them be as flowers, always watered, guarded, or admired. That's going to be a simile. So I'm going to highlight it and put simile. Let's see if there's anything else. This whole poem actually works as a metaphor. The writer is comparing themselves to a weed. So I think I'm going to highlight I'd rather be a tall, ugly weed again and put text and write metaphor. Author comparing himself to a weed. Okay, I'm going to look through the other questions here too. Which detail from the poem supports my answer to part A? Let's look at this. I'm going to move myself over. People often fear those who choose not to conform to the majority. It's much easier to be true to yourself than to conform to what others expect. Being different can be isolating, but leads to true independence and happiness. People who must overcome difficult circumstances are often stronger. I'm going to say it's C, and then I click that, and then I'd pick the line that most supports my answer. I'm going to say that's D, if I could stand alone, strong and free. All right, what's the next question? How does the poet's description of the weed contribute to the meaning of the poem? Let me make myself a little smaller so that we can still see. Emphasizes the wild nature of the weed, the thrill of uncontrolled freedom. It portrays the weed as dangerous to the other flowers, which explains why the weed is isolated. Portrays the weed as angry, that it is unwanted, and this emphasizes the pain of isolation. Presents the weed as quietly beautiful, and this challenges traditional ideas of beauty. So I'm going to look back at the poem and highlight any time that it talks about the weed. So like here, this whole line talks about the weed. So I'm going to highlight that. I might even use a different color next time. And I'm going to put a note here, description of weed compared to flowers. Have broken through the surface of stone. This is all author describing himself as a weed compared to some flowers. So I'm not going to keep going because unfortunately I don't have the version of Screencastify where I can record the entirety of this, but hopefully you're picking up on what I'd like you to be doing as you annotate and highlight. If you have any questions, please reach out to me and let me know. Hope everyone's doing great.